The point forward 5 Milwaukee Bucks chatter from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. The Milwaukee Bucks just split a couple back-to-back games. They, 54 points from Giannis Antetokounmpo, but a loss in Indiana on the second game of a back-to-back. No Damian Lillard. And then the night before, they kind of stole one from the Pistons after it looked like Detroit was going to pull away with that one. Jim, overall, 5-3 is not bad for the Bucks. We're still not seeing elite level defense, I would say. And at the very least, they just haven't had a resounding win yet. They haven't looked great in any one of their games. Defensively, I think, is where people are starting to get worried, particularly for Dame, for Malik Beasley, for the overall package. They've made some changes, but defensively, how loud are the alarm bells in your head right now?
I mean, it's 8 games coming up on 10 or just about 10% of the season. JR, it's a little concerning. That they've got a negative point differential, and I'm not huge into that stat necessarily, as long as you're winning. But early on, they're kind of eking by here when they do win, and they fell behind by 17 to Indiana, JR, and had to claw their way back. And against Indiana's bench unit, look, that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. You want to take advantage of those situations, but it's not great. And Adrien Griffin occasionally, we're talking about the offense, says, oh, you're seeing flashes. You do see pockets of things that should work, can work, where they're trying to maybe get to. But I don't know, JR. I think at this point you're kind of wondering, when is it going to click? Is it 20, 30 games? Do you wait for the quarter mark, the quarter pull? I don't know. But you're right. They haven't really been able to put their stamp on any of these games.
Everybody was talking about Giannis getting ejected from that Pistons game, which was a big turning point. Detroit seized control after that, and the Bucks, of course, came back. Great performance by Damian Lillard in the fourth quarter. I think the consensus here is that he should not have been assessed that second technical. I don't think anybody believes that it was cool that he was ejected from the game. You were there, though. Did you see anything differently? I mean, I know Giannis didn't even talk about it afterwards, but did you have any interpretation that might support the referee viewpoint that Giannis should have been ejected there?
The only interpretation I have is from his angle, which was behind him, half court, by the Bucks bench. From that angle, it looks like he directly stared into Isaiah Stewart's face. When you see the baseline camera, JR, I don't know if he was even that close. He did stare, he did meat mug, he turned around, but it didn't look as sort of personal. To Isaiah Stewart from a different angle, which is why I think the baseline official didn't tee him up. So, if anything, Jared, there should have been a conversation, and then lo and behold, Adrien Griffin gets run the very next night in Indiana, a night after he says he needs to stick up for Giannis and maybe voice his opinion, and then he gets double teed and goes the very next night. So, really interesting couple nights there for the Bucks and these technical fouls.
How are we feeling about Adrien Griffin? I ask that question a lot, but you can find criticism of him suggesting that maybe he doesn't quite have what it takes to coordinate this whole package. But how are you feeling about him thus far?
Again, I'll go back to the defense, JR. You're seeing some of the flashes of things, in Brooklyn, right? They went to drop with Brook Lopez. They, just like they did against the Knicks, because they were oversized against the Nets. Well, then late in the game, Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges are going off. He pulls Brook off the floor. Then Bobby comes off the floor. They go really small. They switch it up. The 2-3 zone against Indiana to get themselves out of the huge hole they dug themselves. I mean, you're seeing the things that he does and he wants to instill. For me, JR, as long as the guys are bought in, it appears they still are, I think that's all that matters. But you're seeing it, so I think you're also seeing some of the growing pains of a first-time head coach.
Giannis had 50 points last night on Thursday night against Indiana with like 9 minutes to go. Everyone, myself included, was sure the 57-point the record by Michael Redd was about to fall. We already mentioned we think Damian Lillard is going to get that record too. Giannis is constantly under siege. How long do you think that thing's going to last? How long should Michael Redd be holding on to this thing? Do you think? Give me a date.
Date. Wow. How about just this season?
Yeah,
I do think it's going to go down. Yeah, Giannis. He ran out of gas. He admitted it down the stretch there. He hadn't really played that many minutes. Hadn't had that kind of workload. yet this season. Damian Lillard hasn't hit any threes yet. I think it took him 5 games to get to 9, which he has done as an individual on several occasions, individual games, I should say. So I think this is it. I think Michael Redd, look, this is not the 72 Dolphins here, people. Michael Redd wants this record to be broken. At least he says that publicly. I think he would like for that to happen. I do think it's this year, JR, though. It feels like if Giannis can't get there, Dame is going to have just one of those nights this season.
Are you concerned about Damian Lillard offensively?
I'm not concerned. I think we're a little surprised that he just hasn't found anything yet. I mean, we didn't get a chance to see him or talk to him in Indiana. We'll see if this calf is a back-to-back soreness or a longer-term soreness. And if he says, hey, my legs haven't been with me. Hey, look, we know calf injuries are a serious issue, not just with Bucks players, but NBA in general, JR. So if he's been sort of dealing with this, that might explain some things. If it's just a back-to-back soreness, whatever. But offensively, the shot just hasn't been there. We've seen him score a lot of points in a couple games, but that's been based off the free throws, which is good. Just the shot hasn't there. So, no, not concerned, JR. Just, I guess, we haven't seen him on a daily basis. So maybe, Bucks fans might be wondering, okay, when's the 40% Dame showing up? But then again, he's also led this team to 2 close victories in this early part of the season.
All right, Jim, get excited for the resumption of the in-season tournament here this weekend, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Sounds good, JR. Talk to you soon.